It is a motion where you're throwing it like a fastball, but as you get to the release point, you turn your wrist.
Coming out of Roger's right paw, it's almost as if the ball has a life of its own.
I can see that curving. Yeah, at this speed, you'll definitely see it curving.
But while the high-speed shots show us the ball swerving and dipping, they can't tell us much about how it happens. And that's why Carrie, Tori, and Grant are at NASA's Ames Research Center in San Francisco. Luckily for us, scientist Rabindra Mehta is a big baseball fan.
The beauty of our lab is that we study aerodynamics, fluid mechanics as applied to airplanes or space shuttles, but it's the same fluid mechanics, aerodynamics that's applied to baseballs or soccer balls or what have you.
So basically you have married your two passions for
Exactly.
science and sports.
Isn't that wonderful?
Okay, so we heard that you actually have a tank where you can show us all of these things visually?
Yes, absolutely. What we'll do now is go over to this water channel where we have a baseball. As you see, it's mounted on a motor, so we're able to rotate it to show you the effects of rotation. But when you see what's going on here, I think it's going to be really cool.
To simulate airflow around a baseball, they introduce streams of fluorescent dye.
Sweet!
While it's still, the dye flows in a symmetrical pattern around the ball. Now imagine that ball has just been fired from Roger Clemens' fist.
Oh, wow. Look how the aerodynamics change.
As it spins, the airflow is disrupted. The air pressure on the ball's underside suddenly drops.
And this ball now will have a force downwards as it's flying through the air. So this would be your classic curve ball.
Lower air pressure on the bottom of the ball makes it dip during flight. And the principle's exactly the same for each different pitch.
It is the axis of spin that determines what type of pitch it is. With a standard fastball, which is released with backspin, you get an upward lift force. With a slider, the axis of spin would be more or less vertical, and in which case the ball would tend to go towards the left because of that. Then the curveball, tumbling. Spinning about the horizontal axis makes it go down.
So our high-speed shots and NASA show that bendy baseball behavior is no myth. So what about the infamous rising fastball? Many hitters swear that some fastballs suddenly lift in midair as they hurtle towards the plate. Is that a myth?
Now, for it to rise, the lift force due to the spin would have to exceed the weight of the ball, right? That's pretty simple.
Sure.
Now, it turns out that for the type of conditions which we find in baseball, the maximum lift force is only equivalent to about half the weight of the ball.
Not even a pitcher as prodigious as Roger Clemens can make a baseball fly in the face of physics. Throwing a fastball that rises is about as likely as Adam and Jamie hitting home runs in the World Series.
You know, hanging out with Roger Clemens, it becomes really clear that pitching is just as much of an art as it is a science.
Totally agree. And while we were there, we had the added bonus of another myth busted.
Yep, the myth of the rising fastball. And it turns out that for the backspin to exert enough force to lift the ball, it'd have to exert more force than the weight of the ball.
Which it can't.
Which it can't.
Yeah, it might be possible with a beach ball, but not a baseball.
Busted.
Totally busted.
On this baseball special, it's time to get down and dirty as the Mythbusters All-Stars take a long run-up at the slide.
All right, this baseball myth is all about the slide.
The what?
Do you watch any sporting events?
Yeah, robot combat. It's a sport.
Right. Well, you know in baseball when you see a guy run to the base and he slides into it?
Oh, yes, I have seen that. But wouldn't it be faster just to run?
Well, that's the myth. A lot of people think that on bases that you can't overrun, that it's faster to slide into them.
All right. Sounds like that's worth testing.
Yeah.
The slide is part and parcel of baseball. In trying to beat the tag and hit the bag, a runner sends the kitty litter flying. But when a player hits the dirt, is the friction costing him precious time? Would it be faster to stay on 2 feet?
Okay, so how are we going to test this?
This one's simple. We just run at the base, and then we slide into the base and see which one's faster.
I got the perfect thing to time that. It's accurate down to the millisecond. I can start it when we leave one base and stop it when we tag the next.
Cool. I think we should also throw in the dive, and that's when you lunge at the base face forward and see if that one's any faster.
All right. Let's ask Jamie and see if he wants to play.
Our sporting gurus head on out to the University of Pacific's Stockton campus. Gee, they really look the part, don't they? There's just one teensy problem. None of our all-stars can slide. But never fear, Uni head coach Ed Sprague has agreed to take on these raw recruits.
I'm going to teach you on the grass so we can minimize the injuries we might have today by the end of the day. All right?
So you're planning on some injuries?
There could be some blood.
Ed spent 11 years in the major leagues, playing for 6 different teams, and is famous for hitting the winning home run in Game 2 of the 1992 World Series. But now he's really got his work cut out for him.
You want to try to take the brunt of the slide on the outside of your shin here, all right? And then on our butt. We don't want to jam our knee into the ground, and we don't want to get our feet way in the air.
Now, as we know, Mythbusters often fly by the seat of their pants. So you might think they'd be naturals at this.
Get the hands up.
But you'd be wrong.
I can make a robot to do it.
In order to test this myth, we're going to have to be able to slide correctly. So I say we give it a few more minutes, maybe a few more hours, till we get it down right. Once we get the slide down right, then we can start testing this myth.
Eventually, the guys' slides start to look more technique and less train wreck.
All right, well, I think you guys have shown enough improvement that we're going to move on to the blood alley, the dirt over here.
Blood alley, huh?
It's time to get Grant's timing rig up to speed.
So the timer's going to have millisecond resolution. There's one switch to start the sequence. And what you'll do is have your foot on this, and the second you leave, it'll start the timer. There'll be a second switch here that goes to a latching relay, and this is going to be on the bag. So when you come up and hit the bag, it'll freeze the timer wherever it is.
Predictions?
My feeling is running to the bag, decelerating, and staying on it is going to be faster, but I could be very wrong.
Let's find out. On the first attempt, Tori will run and try and stop dead on the bag.
Ready when you are.
The instant Tori's foot leaves the switch, the timer starts. In his head, he's trying to beat a ball that's flying in from the outfield.
I'm still on. I'm still touching. What was my time?
3.624.
Pretty sure I was safe.
Tori struggled to stop his momentum.
You get going that fast, it's hard to stop. I mean, a lot of mass to go, you're stopped dead on that target.
This time, he's going to slide into base. Can he beat 3.6 seconds? Will he snap his leg off at the knee?
Nice.
Did I stop it?
Nice, you sure did.
Okay, good. Hey, what was my time?
3.572.
By sliding, Tori shaved 0.05 of a second off his previous time. It's not much, but it could be the difference between safe and out. He's lost a little bark, but the coach is happy.
That was a really good slide. He did a great job there. He went as fast as he could. He did a really good job of keeping his feet going and sliding right hard into the bag.
Time for the other two all-stars to do their dashes.
Nice. 4.076.
And let their hip bone slip.
It's 100 milliseconds, a tenth of a second faster.
I actually thought that was probably your best slide of the day. And that's a good hard slide right there.
4.13 seconds. Wow, that looked like it hurt. You beat your time. 3.93 seconds.
When the dust settles, the results seem to match Tori's. On test 1, the guys each had to slow their speed at the last second in order to stay upright and not overrun the base. But on the second run, they actually accelerated into the slide, and that last second speeding up shaved milliseconds off the time. It's looking like this myth might have hit the skids. But hold on, there's one other technique they haven't tried.
I'm wondering if diving is faster than sliding. And I think you've got some diving technique, don't you?
I don't know. I feel like we